Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwan, and today we're going to continue talking about the Iron Hands as we get into the Morlocks. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. If you have any suggestions, please comment down below. And if you enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. Now, I have a challenge for you guys as you're watching this video. If you are an Iron Hands player, or if you know somebody that's an Iron Hands player, the challenge is to build, based on the heritage of the lore of the Morlocks, a specific story of the honor guard within your army. So again, if you are an Iron Hands player, if you know an Iron Hands player, send this video to them, and the concept is to build lore based around what I'm about to tell you. So let's get into 40 facts on the Morlocks. Within the ranks of the Iron Hands and their successor chapters is a brotherhood of veteran space marines that make up an ancient caste known as the Morlocks. These elite veterans served as the personal honor guard of Varys Manus during the Great Crusade, and since then, many honor guard units within the Iron Hands and their successor chapters have taken on the name of the Morlocks. To become part of this elite cadre of warriors, an Iron Hands battle brother must prove that he is the deadliest and most experienced warrior of his chapter. His skills at arms must allow him not only to fulfill the role of protecting his chapter master, but also carry the sacred battle standard. Armed with the chapter's holiest master-crafted weapons and their most ancient and venerated artificer armor, the Morlocks are meant to inspire their chapter through their highly courageous deeds in battle. For centuries, the Morlocks have been the bloody tip of the spear that drives hard into the Iron Hands' enemies. This rank has been duplicated throughout multiple successor chapters because of its incredible efficiency and its vengeful lineage it carries. The sense of honor and duty that a battle brother holds for a rank that stretches back to when the Primarch battled alongside his legion is impossible to explain. Even the name, Morlocks, harkens back to the Primarch's homeworld of Medusa, where the vicious and vengeful predator, known as the Morlocks, stalk the land. Their howls sending chills down the spines of the planet's inhabitants, much like the Morlocks strike fear into the enemies of mankind. Every Morlock that marches into battle in the 42nd millennium does so with a fire of vengeance against the enemies of the Iron Hands. The tragedy of the Dropsite Massacre and the extermination of an entire ancient Morlock caste leaves a massive hunger for retribution against the traitorous Astartes. During the Great Crusade, as the personal honor guard of Varys Manus, the Morlocks often stood sentinel aboard the Primarch's flagship, the battle barge Fist of Iron, the mightiest of them protecting the gates of the Primarch's inner sanctum, the Iron Forge, located within the ship's anvilarium, the large audience chamber where mighty deeds were planned and unbreakable bonds of brotherhood were forged. The Morlocks were led by Gabriel Santor, the 10th Legion's first captain and equerry to the Primarch. Santor hailed from the Averni clan on Medusa, as did all of the members of the Morlocks. The Morlocks stood by the side of Varys Manus during most of his battles. Many of these warriors were highly enhanced with iron bionics, raising their strength and endurance far beyond that of an average space marine. They slaughtered thousands of orcs during the Olenor campaign, and fought valiantly during the persecution of the ancient human empire of the Diasporax. Check out our 40 facts on the Diasporax if you want to learn more about them. During these battles is where they formed a strong bond with the Astartes of the 3rd Legion, the Emperor's children. The Morlocks grew to appreciate the Emperor's children's pursuit of perfection. However, the Morlocks valued augmented power over organic strength, and would often mock or look down upon the Emperor's children's faith in their flesh. Tragically, after the corruption of the Emperor's children's Primarch, Fulgrim, his 3rd Legion was ordered by the War Master Horus to rendezvous with the Iron Hands Primarch and attempt to sway Varys Manus, Fulgrim's closest friend amongst the Primarchs, toward the cause of the traitors. The two Primarchs met aboard Varys Manus' flagship. Great bonds of friendship and brotherhood had long existed between them, and Fulgrim felt that he could convince Varys of the righteousness of Horus's cause. Fulgrim's hope proved disastrously wrong. The meeting quickly ended in violence, as the Gorgon made his difference of opinion known to the Phoenician with his weapons. Varys was determined to stop Fulgrim's betrayal of the Imperium before it could even begin. Varys used his silvery necrodermis hand to attempt to destroy Fulgrim's sword, Fireblade, but the resulting explosion knocked him out. Fulgrim intended to kill his brother with his own weapon, the Warhammer Forgebreaker, but proved unable to kill his oldest friend, despite the prompting of the Slaneshi demon that now throttled his soul. Instead, he took the Gorgon's beloved Warhammer, a reminder of the bond that the two Primarchs once shared. When Fulgrim emerged from Ferris' inner sanctum, he gave a signal to his Phoenix Guard, who instantly, and in perfect synchrony, beheaded all 10 of the Iron Hand's Morlocks, who served as Ferris Manus' bodyguards. Fulgrim successfully fled the Iron Hand's expeditionary fleet with his own personal assault craft, the Firebird. Things eventually came to a head on Isstvan V. Led by the first captain, Gabriel Santor, 10 full companies of Morlocks hungered to confront the Emperor's children and make them pay for the dishonorable murders done to them in the Anvilarium of the Fist of Iron. The Morlock Terminators, led by the Gorgon, formed the center of the Loyalist assault as the Primarch of the 10th Legion sought out his fallen brother Fulgrim. Finally, the forces of the Emperor's children and the Morlocks came together in a riot of bloodshed and death. The Morlock's superior armor and experience gave them an advantage over the rank-and-file Astartes of the Emperor's children, but they were greatly outnumbered. While Ferris Manus and Fulgrim clashed in a final confrontation, the traitors revealed their trap, as the second wave of Loyalist assaults, composed of the Alpha Legion, the Iron Warriors, the Night Lords, and the Wordbearers, revealed their true allegiance to chaos. Fulgrim's own honor guard, the Phoenix Guard, answered with a terrible war cry and leapt to meet the Morlocks in a searing clash of blades. Electric fire leapt from the golden edges of the power halberds and the lightning claws of the warriors, in a storm of light and sound flares from each life and death struggle. Now surrounded on all sides by the traitors, after the second wave had revealed its treachery, the Morlocks were encircled by the traitors, and in the midst of the cries of pain and roaring savage glee, the Morlocks of Ferris Manus were reported to be slain to a man. The truth was that a few of the Morlocks managed to survive the killing grounds of the Urgal Depression and joined various groups of Loyalist survivors, later referred to as Black Shields, in the hopes of getting vengeance for the death of their Primarch. Others rendezvoused with the remainder of the Iron Hands and continued the best they could in the defense of the Imperium. From these few survivors, the knowledge of the mythology of combat and the heritage of the Morlocks was passed down. And those were 40 facts on the Morlocks. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like I said in the beginning, if you are an Iron Hands player, I really do challenge you to build lore based around this elite unit that existed during the Great Crusade. Something that I found out throughout my many years of playing 40K on the tabletop is when you're collecting an army, sometimes for certain armies, specifically like Space Marine armies, it just seems like you just want to get the new unit, you want to get the new models, and just play them on the tabletop. It doesn't really matter if it meshes well with your lore, if it meshes well with your like backstory or whatever. It's all about collecting that model and putting it on the battlefield because it fulfills some type of meta. Sometimes it's nice to slow down, really look at the army, and build lore or fluff behind a specific unit, because once you actually go onto the tabletop and you're playing that specific unit that you know has history that you created, it brings value to the entire game. Not even just like in a narrative perspective where like you and the player both have an agreed upon narrative to the battle, just for the sheer fact that like this is your Morlock unit. They are the survivors, or they were taught by the survivors of the Isstvan massacre. That then just adds so much value to whatever battle you do, whether the opponent actually wants to do a narrative style battle or if he doesn't. In your heart, these are the Morlocks, this is your honor guard, and you don't want them to fail. If they make it to the end, that is a huge accomplishment, and it just brings more value to that game. So that is my challenge to you guys. Now, if you guys have suggestions for any other topics of Warhammer 40K, any questions, anything like that, please comment down in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This was Gershwan with One Mind Syndicate signing out.